All right, we are back live at FabCon. We are live with Jared Kuehn. Jared, how the heck are you doing, sir?
I am having a blast, Chris. This
Yeah,
has been an amazing week. I'm so sad to see it being finished up today.
right.
Just workshops tomorrow.
Yeah, we've just got a handful of hours left, and
Yeah.
FabCon 2025 will be in the books.
hmm
Now, you had an eventful week. You actually spoke at FabCon,
I
right?
did. I spoke at the biggest event I've spoken at yet at this point. But yeah, I spoke yesterday.
Well, that's fantastic. What was the subject you talked about?
Intro to PySpark and Microsoft Fabric. I guess it has to do with the Fabric theme.
Well, and I play like I didn't know, but I actually attended, and I have to thank you because I've had many, like, doctors of data scientists try to sit down and explain Python and PySpark to me, and never did it work and never did it click. In your session, like, I felt like like all of the dots got connected with that. So
Genuinely appreciate it. I mean, when I submitted this one as an intro level course, my goal was wherever you're at. You've never touched it. Maybe you've spent a couple minutes with it. In any case, there's a couple pitfalls that I ran into when I started with it, both in PySpark in general and with it in Fabric. So, wanting to help make that transition into working with code a little bit smoother.
yeah, it was great because I've been successful with Python and PySpark because of Copilot. Copilot's helped me actually
Sure.
do things with notebooks, but I could only evaluate the end results if they were right, and then I'd had to infer that the code was right because it gave me what I was hoping to get at the end, but I didn't understand what the heck the code was saying or doing. Your session allowed me to now I get what a DF is, and I get what these magic words are, and all that stuff. So
Yeah, there's so much nomenclature that it's just if you've worked in it, you know it, right? I mean, that
Yeah.
happens with a lot of languages.
Right.
PySpark is no different, but sometimes it just takes a couple minutes. You explain a couple terms, and lo and behold, now you can do so much more now, right?
Yeah, I feel like I'm really unlocked in that area where I had a huge blocker, and now it's just like I'm free to run. So
That's
thank you
the
very
goal.
much. Yeah.
Wanted to let everybody run your race, take that next step on your journey.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think that's one of the big advantages of coming and participating at a conference. For you, this is your first time speaking at a conference. Can you tell us what was that like?
Man, it's been an emotional roller coaster, to be perfectly honest. Like, anywhere from the preparation I've been doing for months on this topic to get it to a point that I felt like I could really tell the story well. Getting to the event itself and just seeing how huge this is, 6,500 people sitting around here, and knowing a good portion of them would actually come to see my talk. Like, it was anywhere from I'm super excited to be here. I'm freaking out because why did they even pick me in the first place? Imposter syndrome is a huge thing getting out there. But I'll tell you what, it was especially going back to, you and I have talked, I have that theater background. It was going back to those theater roots, going back to how did I prepare for shows? How do I prepare for telling a story in front of a large group? You get back to basics. And man, when I woke up yesterday, I was raring to go. I was excited. And man, that was an amazing experience.
Well, I got to tell you, you really sold both me and Rob, one of our coworkers, when you ran into the issue and everything was Weird Al. I, I thought there was a legitimate issue, and you were in my tenant. I'm like on my phone trying to because I didn't have my laptop with me. I'm like,
sorry, Chris, I broke your stuff.
yeah. Well, I thought I had broke your presentation, and you had sold it so well. I'm like frantically trying to through the mobile phone, see if I needed to restart a capacity or something to help you out, but no. It was all planned. You planned it out, and that was all part of it.
All planned, and I mean, because we've been there, right?
Yeah,
we've been in those situations. People panic, and it's again, Fabric. It's trying to make things easier for you. So when those things happen, what's that instinct? What's that next step you take? And I obviously over dramatize things a little bit for breaking things up in the middle of a section or middle of a session to make sure that people are still enjoying themselves. But
well, I was definitely enjoying myself, and then I was panicking.
Sorry.
I felt I thought, oh no, because a lot of people, if they're in a position where something legitimately goes wrong, and the data gods are, or the demo gods are are mean, bitter people, are deities. So, but you did it was great, and then you showed us what it what you're really getting at, and you showed us Data Wrangler, which is I've seen individual demos, but I hadn't seen it in the context of like your build process, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
That was
it's a
cool.
step-by-step process. And Data Wrangler, if you haven't taken a look at it yet, check it out. It's not too many people know about it, but especially learning the language, it's a great place to get started.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and hopefully that previous mention is you can hear me because I did check it because this is an old. Those are old comments
Okay.
here, so not new ones. So, um, but no, that's fantastic. It was a really good session.
Thank you. Thank you.
What did you do to prepare yourself for that session?
So for me, my process for preparing for sessions is pretty extensive. Like my bare minimum goal is my presentation is at least at the point I am ready to start giving it a month before the engagement itself.
Okay.
So that means I've already got my slides prepped. I at least have an initial version of a demo, and I at least have an outline of things that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Then I plan on doing that a month before, because then that gives me a whole month to practice it. And this is where again I go back to my theater roots.
Mhm.
So I'm practicing my presentations at least once a week minimum.
Okay.
And that's especially because one, start getting an idea for time, if I need
Mhm.
to add more content, if I need to remove content. But on top of that, I get to check the story.
Mhm.
Does the story make sense? Does it flow well?
Mhm.
Is it like, does it make sense from if I were sitting in the seats and trying to follow the same story from my real life experiences?
Sure.
And so there, like last month, I go through a pretty exhaustive process of making adjustments, adjusting my demo,
Mhm.
adjusting my slides. I threw out a bunch of content there because I was running over on time. I get really wordy sometimes. And then getting back to my theater roots again, it's that last week is I'm running it every day. I run the session every day because you learn to do that in theater, and that's where by the time you hit the stage and there's an audience watching, then you're not having to rely on improvisation and such. You allow for that,
Sure.
but it comes from a strong base.
Right.
And so that's my process in a nutshell.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'll say I'm a little more cavalier, although the one thing I do like to always have is backups of everything. So if I have to re-implement any demo content, you're able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I've never done, but I've seen people do, is actually record the demo on video so that if all else fails, you can play the video.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever gone to that extent?
With this presentation, I haven't done that yet. I was debating that here because I'm like, this is a really big situation of I want to have that backup plan. So admittedly, I kind of threw the Hail Mary. I at least was in the room the day before to test internet connectivity and whatnot, and really didn't run into issues there.
Okay, good.
But other presentations I've done that too, of recording demonstrations beforehand. But for me, like, it's risky. I love doing live demos. Live demos, I feel, really tell a wonderful story. And I mean, it shows the real experience,
Mm-hmm.
what people are going to expect to see when they take this information home and they try it for themselves. I think it's a more authentic experience. And yeah, it takes a lot of extra work, but I'm willing to put the effort in on that.
Well, I like to agree. I like to, people on this channel know when I do builds or demos, I like to show it end to end with no cuts, because like sometimes you watch a video and you're like, wow, that took them 5 minutes, but they have so many jump cuts. You're trying to like follow along and do what they did, and you're like, all right, well, pause, go back, watch the same thing. That I don't like that.
Mhm.
So that true timeline I think is very beneficial. I agree with you. Well, Jared, it's been fantastic having you on the live stream. What would you like to tell users about like community or PySpark or DataBard? What your choice? What would you like to tell users?
So I'd say at least I want to talk about community, because the thing I love about this is that we're at FabCon. The name has community in it, right?
Mhm.
And that's because my philosophy on a lot of things within the past decade is you look at Power BI.
Mhm.
Power BI has come a long way in 10 years. And some of that can be attributed to a lot of the development work that Microsoft did, right? They put a lot of effort into the product. There's one other key factor that helped make Power BI successful, in my opinion.
Yep.
The community.
Mm.
The community, they fostered a good, healthy community, a community that spoke up, connected with one another, learned from each other, held Microsoft to a standard, gave them lots of feedback on what they wanted to see out of the product. I feel like that's had a strong impact on why we consistently see Power BI at the top of analytical quadrants. And I feel like Fabric has the same potential,
Yeah.
but it requires the same thing.
Yep.
We need the community. We need to come together. We need to share these experiences. We need to share our troubles. We need to share our successes. We need to share our stories, because our stories are what help change minds. And in cases like this, changing the minds of people here, getting the ear of Microsoft and being able to influence where this project is going to go in a couple of years, that's what's going to turn this into another product that is going to blow the industry away.
I love that, Jared, that you so elegantly and wonderfully said. I can't end any better than that. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you guys for tuning in, and for all of those who are going to watch us in the future. You have the best day ever now.
Take care.
Bye.
Baker Tilly Digital combines strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.